It's Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Merry Christmas. It's Christmas. Look, I've got snowmen. Ironically, though, we're not talking about snowmen. We're talking about Last Christmas. Would have probably been better to do the snowmen now.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that.
Didn't think of that one. Didn't think of that one. Can't find my Santa hat anywhere. So,
At least you got one. Ish.
well, there's one in the house somewhere. If not, I'll just have to go down the shop and buy another one. But today we thought, before, as we run up into the Christmas period now, and with our fortnightly schedule, this will be our last record now for members of the public. We will be putting out another December members only exclusive podcast, so you can go and get that for the very reasonable price of £3. Give us your money, basically. It's Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
What the hell do you call me?
You heard.
So we just thought we'd take a look back at another Christmas special. We haven't done a Peter Capaldi in a while, so we're looking at Last Christmas. Broadcast on the 25th of December 2014, written by Stephen Moffat and directed by Paul Wilmshurst. And here we are. What do we think?
I forgot how good Capaldi's music was in this. Capaldi in this is just pure brilliant.
Yeah,
I absolutely love him in this.
It's pretty good.
Nick Frost as well, just class, as hilarious as Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really didn't get on with this one the first time I watched it. When it first went out, I was like, oh, well, not really. But I was a bit jaded by Doctor Who at this point with Series 8. I was a bit like, oh, that wasn't really for me. And it was the first time I hadn't really been that bothered about the Christmas special. In recent years, though, going back to it, this is one I really enjoy. Like, I think Moffat does his Christmas specials, like, he gets the idea of it. Whereas, like, RTD's Christmas specials, on the whole, they're, like, maybe not so much The Next Doctor, but all the others, and I'm including Church and Ruby Road on this, they don't really feel like Christmas specials. They're like, oh, here's an episode of Doctor Who set at Christmas.
Yeah.
Whereas at least Moffat leans into the whole Christmassy thing. Whether it be through, direct retellings of famous Christmas stories through like Christmas Carol, or just sort of homages to them, like Dr. Widow and Laura, though that's not very good. They at least play on the themes of Christmas, and the snowmen feel very Christmassy. You've got evil snowmen, whereas this one is nice because it is a Doctor Who story that's set at Christmas, but it leans much further into the Christmassy setting through the dreams of using Father Christmas and elves and reindeers, and the parallels, I think, between the Doctor being Clara's Santa, basically. There's that pre-credit sequence which I think works really well, and it's bizarre and it's strange. It's very Christmassy, and it really helps to establish the sort of dream setting that we're going in. And if you know me, I love any sort of dreamy sort of Doctor Who stuff, or anything really. I love the idea of fictional dream stuff where it just sort of uses dreams, because I think they're vital in sort of exploring characters. And as much as I love big action pieces and stuff, when it comes to Doctor Who, or with anything really, you can't beat a good proper character piece, something that really delves into just a handful of people and really sort of gets at the nitty gritty of who they are. That is my sort of bread and butter. I'm not sure what that was. One thing I don't like about this episode, and maybe it's a hot take, I don't know, I just find the elves annoying. Yeah,
they were jarring, really. They're kind of there for comic relief, but it's more of an irritation.
Yeah, I just don't think they add anything.
I feel the guest cast for the Polar Explorers themselves would have been better comedy relief on their own.
Yeah,
I get why the elves are there. Don't get me wrong, because you can't have Santa without his reindeer and his elves. But
I just think the way they did them, the way they went about them,
they could have been done better.
The remarks about them, oh, that's racist, and like, oh, I love it when Santa goes badass, he's giving me the feels. I just find them really cringe, and it doesn't really work. It's sort of, they offset the idea of Nick Frost, who is really good as playing, like, at the start when he does the sort of traditional, like, oh, I know what you want for Christmas, I'm Santa, and then he just goes a bit more, he's just actually quite cool, he's just quite a chill guy.
Yeah, he does Santa very well in this.
But I think the fact that they play him as the cool guy that sort of knows everything, almost quite doctory in a way, sort of is offset by the fact that the elves are just so cringe. They're really cringe.
Yeah.
I just don't like them. And I think one thing I will, there's another little mini gripe of mine that I want to get out of the way as well, is I hate the fact that they've cocked the title sequence up. because from this point onwards, Capaldi's title sequence is just all over the shop. They can't sync it to the right point, so then like the ooh comes in at the wrong point. That's something that happens now with the title sequence as well. It happened all through series 1. There's not one single episode where it just plays properly. And And I don't like the fact that they have the credits for Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman, and then the Doctor Who logo, and then it just says Nick Frost in big letters. It makes it look like the episode's called Nick Frost.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard to just re-edit your title sequence and just stick it in more naturally. But hey, that's my little mini gripe. I get very particular about the title sequence. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. An interesting fact about this one though, because of with Jenna Coleman sort of like not deciding whether or not she wanted to like go or she wanted to carry on, Shona it was sort of lined up to be the new companion. And I like Shona in this, and I think Faye Marcy, yeah, that's her name, is a really good actress. She's a really good in that episode of Black Mirror that she's in. She's great in loads of different stuff. I just don't think the character of Shona would have worked long term. I feel like
it could have got jarring.
It could have, quick. Yeah. If they'd have carried her on like that, I think it would have got very annoying. And it's fine for a one-off. Don't get me wrong. I think she's great in this. She's good fun. She gets some great lines. She probably gets the best lines out of everybody in the Arctic explorers the gang. I can't talk today apparently. I just don't know if that would have worked long term. But then again, I suppose look at Donna and Runaway Bride. You know, you wouldn't expect that version of Donna to carry on, and then they develop her and make her a bit more natural. Yeah. So I am sure something would have happened with that, but it doesn't matter because it never did. We've got another series of Clara just being Clara.
Yeah. I did like the idea of the alien in this one, the monster of the week on this. It was brilliantly done. The design of it was quite cool and terrifying a bit. You did get that bit without, I forget his name, the one who dies in this.
Michael Troughton, Patrick Troughton's son.
Yes.
Who also now plays the second Doctor for Big Finish and is really good.
He basically says, oh yeah, there's a film called Alien, and the Doctor's there like, oh yeah, what, you got a film called Alien? That's incredibly offensive. No wonder everyone invades you. There's stuff like that. You just get those. The Doctor
that's all you need for comic relief.
The Doctor almost looks absolutely mortified that he said face hugger.
Yeah,
and it's just brilliant. The Doctor in this is just top notch.
But it ties into the sort of homages that it's doing quite well, because it becomes almost a sort of like a very minimal plot point, because in Shona's, when she wakes up at the end, she's got her list in one of the DVDs is Alien, and the other one is The Thing, famous horror film set in the Arctic, which this pays homage to, but also is quite good because it leans into that Christmas setting as well. It sort of balances everything quite well, of like sci-fi homage, dreamscape stuff with Doctor Who Christmassy things, and the point is that they don't gel. Like, you wouldn't have Father Christmas in an episode like this, but because he's there, that is a huge plot point of the fact that it's a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream, which is stuff that we do see a lot in different films and different TV shows and stuff. But I think it works great here.
Yeah,
that initial reveal, because it's obvious that like when those things are first coming down, and the idea that these aliens can only be, the Cantrafari can only be they can only become active when they're being thought about, is such like a Moffat-y alien type thing. It's very much like the Silence, where you can only, if you're looking at them, that's the only time you can remember them and stuff like that. It's very Stephen Moffat in a good way. And yeah, the Cantrafari come down, and there is that shot of them could be right down on people, but then all of a sudden they get rescued by Santa, and you think, well, what? How is Santa here in all of this? And then obviously it's the fact that they have been got, and then they're in dreams within dreams. That stuff, yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And it's the speed, the pacing on this works really well, because obviously they're dealing with that. They're all going into the infirmary. The Doctor and Clara show up, trying to figure out what's going on. Massive attack, and then Nick Frost shows up after we think, like, you just see the alien coming down onto the face.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Nick Frost is there. Everyone's a few steps back from where they were. And yeah, it's done really well. It really works. And then the fact that we don't get the reveal that they're still in this dream state until near enough the end of the episode.
Yeah, they could quite easily do that quite quickly, but instead they sort of subvert it by having another dream where Clara is with Danny, and the inclusion of Danny in this works because it's the same way that the inclusion of Santa works. It's because it's a dream. It's because he's there. It's not some sort of cheap flashback or the fact that he's not actually dead. He's still very much dead, and he's there.
He's even aware that he's dead.
Yeah.
So
because it's all in Clara's head. So of course, it's, you know, she knows that he's dead. Another cool thing they do with Clara is quite often because obviously they're all in a dream from the start. It's not just the fact that it's the dream of Danny and then they wake up, oh, we've been attacked, we've been in dreams, we've got the base. It's a dream the whole time. That quite often, if Clara's in like a single close-up, she's almost got like this sort of like very hazy filter over here, almost as though that it's like hinting that she's already in a dream, and you're looking at Clara and it's like she's very dreamlike sort of. His skin's just a little bit too smooth. She's not quite in focus. That might not have even been intentional, and it's just something I picked up on before because I, you know, pay attention to these kind of things because I'm a big nerd.
But we do get that bit because obviously the Doctor and Clara have had some time apart. The end of Series 8 was kind of set up enough for Jenna Coleman to step away, as we discussed earlier. So Clara's on about, oh yeah, Danny survived and stuff, and the Doctor's like, oh, I've gone and found Gallifrey. And we find out in this that they've both lied to each other, but that's their reason for having their time apart. The Doctor went away to let Clara be with Danny, and Clara said Danny was okay as an excuse to stay away from the Doctor. Effectively, it seems.
Yeah, and it's a good bit of drama, and it's a good scene. I just think I feel like it should have had more ramifications throughout the episode and going forwards. But it also needs to be like, oh, you lied to me, and I lied to you. Okay, fair enough. Well, that's a bit rubbish, but there we are. Anyway, it's like that's one of the things I just wish they'd focus on a little bit more.
Yeah, but like this all gets picked up on when the Doctor first sees, when they first see the sleepers, as they're referred to in this. And he mentions Danny Pink as a way of stopping her from thinking about what's around her. And then all of a sudden, everything just stops. Clara flips her lid and she admits to the Doctor that Danny's actually dead as well, which is the indicator. And he's kind of stood there, kind of shocked a bit when he finds out.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you lying to me for? Sort of thing.
Yeah, it's the sort of realization that he's like, I can't believe she's lied to me, but also knowing that he's lied to her for the same reason that she's lying to him, and it's sort of they're feeding into each other. And it's this is the true proper beginning now of these two being like too toxic for each other. And, you know, Clara should have had a perfect ending in Series 8, and I could sort of see if they did this as like a one more sort of epilogue to stuff, if it ended with them all waking up and Clara's at home and the Doctor's off in the TARDIS somewhere and that's it. You could have left it at that, because at least then they both know the truth. But then obviously with these two characters, they can't possibly just stay away from each other. It's truly the beginning of their downfall, really. And it's, you know, it sets up, I think as an arc it works quite well. I'm just not a fan. I've said it before, I'm not really the biggest fan of 12 and Clara. I know some people go mad for it, and I can see why some people like it. And it is dramatically, it is interesting. But for me, I just like the Doctor and the companions to just be having fun and to not have to do all of this, like, you know, we're so toxic for each other. It's like, what? Shut up. Just look, there's a Dalek over there. Go kick its head in.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the traditionalist in me. I don't know. One thing I do love, though, is the banter between the Doctor and Father Christmas.
Yes, Nick Frost and Peter Capaldi have incredible chemistry on screen.
Yeah.
And it works so well. I don't think you could have done this episode without Nick Frost, in all fairness.
You could have, but you definitely lose quite what is a memorable part of the story. It makes me laugh because it's almost presented like it's very reminiscent of when like two different Doctors meet up and they start bickering, because to Clara they both very similar, as in Father Christmas and the Doctor, these two impossible heroes with their, you know, bigger on the inside box or, you know, sack, matron. So I think it's quite interesting to sort of have them sparring like they are two different versions of the Doctor. And it is very multi-Doctor, you know, them imitating each other, and, you know, there's Santa has the whole, it's a bit dreamy with me. And all of that. That was really funny. And then that's the sort of reveal then with the Doctor using the books and everything to be like, yes, we're all still in a dream. And they have to be rescued by Santa, because that's what they have done throughout the episode. And I just really like it. It's just good. I like it. It works.
Moving on, then we find out a bit more about the Dream Grabs. They've managed to get Santa's rocked up with one in a jar, by the way, at this point.
I never put that on my Christmas list.
Yeah. And then we learn, so they start doing a bit of research about it and stuff, and just looking into what actually makes it tick. And we learn that they only they're dormant as hell until you start thinking about them, and that's when they start gunning for you. Really, and you can do what you can, but they do tend to win. But the way they attack you is a lot different to what you'd normally get. They kind of attack your face, sit on your face, and then put you into a dream state while they slowly dissolve your brain and eat you. That's how these things work.
It's quite grim, really, isn't it?
It is grim. It's quite grim for a Christmas special, because I distinctly remember Christmas specials airing fairly early in the evening on Christmas Day.
I think this was a slightly later one, if memory serves. I didn't look up the exact airtime. It is quite dark, but I like the fact that this is what I mean. It doesn't, because I think sometimes I feel like some of the Christmas specials for me, they lose it slightly when it's all just a bit too twee. That's why I never really get on with like The Doctor, The Widow and the Wardrobe, because there's not really that much of a threat there. And same with Husbands of River Song. There's not really a huge threat there. Like, there needs to be some element of that sort of Doctor Who-iness for me, because otherwise I could just be watching Call the Midwife or something.
Yeah, but that's why this episode works.
Yeah,
really well, in my opinion.
I like that it leans more into the more traditional sci-fi elements and stuff. I think, you know, science fiction is a genre that is famous for telling stories about humanity. You know, it's you can look at any big science fiction franchise you can think of. You can look at that through a different lens, and it is just a distorted view of some aspect of human society, whether it be wars or politics or whatever, you know, and some of the nice stuff as well. And Doctor Who does that as well perfectly. And I think Christmas is good for that too, because you can be very reflective at Christmas, and you can sort of look back at the year and everything, and you know, it's a chance to look at people, and that's why I like it. It works for me. And plus, who doesn't love a good spooky Christmas story as well? Like a good Christmas ghost story. Yeah, I'm all about that. I like that a lot. It really works for me. Spooky Christmas stuff. Maybe because I'm warped on the inside, or maybe just like it's like the idea of curling up by the fire with a nice hot chocolate and
watching Alien.
Yeah,
yeah.
Alien's grateful.
It is. Need to see the new one.
Yeah, I don't even think I've seen the one before that.
No. But yeah, we keep going off on tangents today.
We do. We do.
But yeah, so Clara, during this whole reveal about the dream crab thing, ends up being attacked by one herself and wakes up at Christmas with Danny, as we know. And again, this is where we learn a bit more. The only way you can kill a dream crab is by breaking out of the dream it puts you in. Which kind of a gruesome kind of reveal, I guess, at the end.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the emotional weight is, isn't it? It's because Clara knows that if she wakes up and Danny's not going to be there, he's still going to be dead. Whereas in this little cozy dream world she's in, he is there, but then she'll be dead, and none of it's real anyway. So what's the point? It's that sort of dilemma of like, do you stay and have your brain sucked out, but also, you know, be Christmas with Danny, or do you wake up and try and stop this threat? Because, you know, you could sort of see the personal stakes in it quite easily, to be fair.
Yeah, it does seem very much like she's quite happy to stay in the dream state she's in, especially in the second one as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually though we do see the Doctor figuring out, like, missing the obvious in the situation. So around the base, there's little clues that there might be a dream state. There might be something wrong, but they're subtle enough that they're not noticed.
Yeah.
Like, as he said in this, the 4 manuals for 8 staff. And using those manuals, the Doctor conducts a very nice little test where they all turn to the same page and read the same word, but for each person that word's different, which is indicating to them that they're, like, sleeping.
Yeah. It's a very clever sort of dream trick, because of course they wouldn't, unless they've memorized these manuals, they're obviously not going to be the same, because how can you connect what is not really there? It's going to be different. It's going to be along the same lines, but it's going to be different. So it's a very interesting little test, and it's repeated a few times, the sort of idea of that they're all dying and that they need to wake up. And they eventually do, but not before a lovely sleigh ride across all of the world, really, but mostly London, because, you know, even in dreams, apparently Doctor Who can only go to London.
I mean, it was a nice little scene, to be fair. It was, you see them slowly start waking up. The Scottish woman in this, we find out, is actually wheelchair bound. And like they're starting remembering stuff from their life, because none of them are actually explorers or scientists.
Yeah.
One of them's a shop worker and one's an accountant.
Yeah.
And the one died.
Yeah, one of them is dead. That was a bit of a shame.
He's proper dead. Yeah. Didn't do a lot. He's a bit creepy, as we discover in the first one as a character. In the first like scene with them all, where they'd say about him in the briefing and that.
Yeah,
that was a bit
unnecessary.
Yeah, that felt like this is a bit much for Christmas.
Yeah.
But basically, at the end of the day, I believe in Santa saves the day.
Well, we'll see you next fortnight. Yeah, no, it is a cute little ending because we get the reveal that they, you know, after everyone gets dropped back, the Doctor goes to see Clara and she's old and many years have passed and she's got some of the worst old age makeup I've ever seen. It looks dreadful.
It's such a nice scene, though, for the two.
It is a good scene. I'm not
so
doubting
lovely.
that. I don't know why whenever Jenna Coleman plays a bit older, she just turns her accent up to 11.
Yeah.
Is that something that happens? Millie Gibson,
I don't know.
well, not Millie Gibson didn't do it, but with the character of the older Ruby in 73 Yards, the same thing happens there where the accent just gets like cranked up and it's like, does that happen? I've never met anyone that's happened to. They've always had that accent, but what do I know? I've got a very boring, generic British accent.
But like, yeah. But, well, no, you don't, but yeah. But you get that really nice bit where the Doctor and Clara are talking about the 62 years they've had apart, and then you get a little shot back to young Clara, who's in the place of old Clara at the time, and she's like, "Oh, do you really not see me any differently?" And he goes, "No, I never do. You always look the same to me," which is really nice, and it shows that their relationship is genuine and they do care a lot for each other. But as you said, this is the start of the downfall to Clara's demise, effectively.
It is, like you said, it is a great scene, and it's very indicative in the fact that it's the 12th Doctor who's not very fond of people in general. You know, when the basically sort of doing the whole holding the hand thing, it's like, I'll hold Clara's hand, but that's enough for me and all that. Like,
it's when he saves the day, and then he's like, "All right, everyone okay? Good. Bye."
Yeah, just the man just dips. He's got better places to be, apparently.
It's funny. It's like, oh, never to say to chat, you get attached.
Yeah,
it's
very
brilliant.
12th. It's very early 12th Doctor,
Yeah.
and it is funny. It's just, it does grate me a little bit when it's constant, but I can sort of.
It wasn't constant in this, mind. It was a lot more thinned out.
I'm not saying in this specific episode.
No, I know what you mean.
Constantly
Over the
through
series,
series 8, where it's like, oh, humans, oh, go away, me, to a little kid and stuff. It does grate me a little bit, but. Yeah, it's fun, and it's, you know, to have that line between them where he's like, you know, I don't see any differently, it's like you said, it's telling of the love that he has for her, but it's also very much like, this is too much, this is going to go wrong, and it goes very wrong in the next series. You know, Clara gets killed by a pigeon. Spoilers. But she doesn't really. Or does she? Who knows?
Ooh.
Go and watch it yourself and find out.
Yeah, you'll never look at a pigeon the same.
I hate pigeons.
Yeah, that's why I hit them with my car. Not intentionally.
Ooh, well, I don't know. I was there. There was a
a
look in your eye. There was a crow as well.
I got a red car now, so the blood won't even stain the... No, we're not going there.
The views of Tom Scarrett do not represent those of us as an organisation or me as an individual.
But yeah, old Clara and Doctor, they're just having a nice little Christmas dinner. Really pulling a cracker for old time's sake.
Fun little parallel as well on the time of the Doctor, where the 11th Doctor's old and Clara's young and she's having to help him pull a cracker, and this time it's flipped around. That was a nice little callback.
That was a really nice touch, that. But they are interrupted again by Santa.
Yeah.
So they're still in a dream state, but this time the Doctor knows how to get Clara out of it, because he's done it to get old Clara out of it.
Yeah.
And now it's young Clara. But she's asleep in the TARDIS, not her room, on this one.
Yeah.
Which is...
No, she was asleep in her bed.
Was she?
Yeah, because he runs back in, doesn't
Oh,
he?
yeah. Yeah, sorry. There's so much happening in the last
just
few
imagine
scenes.
Just imagine a whole new ending. Yeah, it is nice, I think. But even if that didn't happen, even if Jenna Coleman wasn't coming back for, you know, a third series, I think if they'd have just left it where the Doctor reunites with the older Clara and they have that last Christmas together, that would have been a really nice ending in itself. I'm not just saying this because I'm biased. Well, I mean, I am a bit, but just objectively, that would have been a nice ending. But I can also see why they go, bring in Santa one last time, and then they go off in the TARDIS again, only for the fact that they're not actually travelling constantly anyway. Like, he's still dropping her off and whatever, and, you know, they've seen The Magician's Apprentice, which I still hate. That she's, you know, very independent. They're sort of coming out of each other's lives every now and then, and, you know, she does travel with him, but she also gets dropped back off, and I like the companions to just travel with the Doctor. Again, I'm a traditionalist.
Yeah, but then with these two as well, and how toxic their relationship was, that would make it 10 times worse.
True.
And a lot more insufferable for us as the viewer, because it's around, like, I mean, Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman worked well together, and I enjoyed their time together. The Capaldi and Jenna Coleman stuff, like, their chemistry's good, but the way the characters have been written, you cannot stand Clara when she's with him. In a sense, and the doctors, she brings the worst out in the Doctor in most cases.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's a very, I can see why, like I said, I can see why they do it for the sort of dramatic stakes and everything, and it does make for good drama, but it just doesn't really, it's not my thing. I can see why people enjoy it, and people do enjoy it. You know, we're not saying, you know, this is just our opinion. You know, there's plenty of people that enjoy 12 and Clara. There's plenty of people who Clara is their favourite companion ever, and their favourite TARDIS team is the 12th Doctor and Clara. So I do get it. It just doesn't necessarily work for me.
No, I think I'm in the same park as you there, to be fair, because it does get quite jarring, and seeing Clara die at the end of it, whilst yes, it's a sad scene, I was kind of happy to see her go.
Yeah. And it's sort of...
I hate being like that with a companion, because like Bill, I was gutted for when she died. Rose, I mean, her and 10 did get it got a bit weird, but I was still upset when she went, and was over the moon when she came back in Series 4. Never wanted Donna to go, never wanted Martha to go.
Yeah.
There was a nice little thing going through the episode as a little hint that it might be in a dream state as well, other than the little test for everyone that was there. It was every time someone got asked what they were doing in the North Pole, everyone went, "Oh, it's a long story."
Yeah.
And that gets called up. Again, it's one of those things which, ironically, is obviously missed by everyone in the Doctor after he says, "Oh, you all good? Bye." Goes back to the TARDIS, and Clara's like, "Why are we at the North Pole?" And then that's what kind of sparks it for him.
Because the pre-title sequence is Santa on Clara's roof of her enormous mansion.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was like, why was Santa on my roof?
Yeah, and that's when the sort of penny drops, and they're like, "Oh, wait." But then I do like the sort of ambiguous thing at the end where even after the real Doctor and Clara go off in the TARDIS, there's just that one shot of the Satsuma in the window going, maybe Santa is real after all.
Yes.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
It's me. I'm Santa. No. I have got a beard, but it's not white enough.
Yet.
Shut up. I've got a white patch coming in it, and if it gets any bigger, I'm dyeing it. The beard will be dyed.
One day.
Oh Christ! Can I? Yeah.
I'll be a little elf. Well, taller elf. I'll be like the genetically mutated elf that's taller than Santa. Anyway, on that note,
you got the ears for it.
Merry Christmas.
No, Merry Christmas in both of us here at Outer Space Visualizer. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Share us all around. Leave a comment. Let us know your favourite Christmas special. Let us know your thoughts on Last Christmas. Don't forget, we have got our memberships up as well, which are £3. £6
and £150,000. No, I'm joking. What an ideal gift for any Doctor Who fan. That's right, our memberships. And if you subscribe to us, it's basically like giving us a little Christmas present. It's Christmas. Come on, subscribe.
Please. Bye.
See you later. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.